With more inclement weather predicted for the rest of this week in the province, damage assessments are ongoing. The decision to declare the province a disaster area means all resources will now be pulled together to respond rapidly to last week's devastating storms.
But as much as we do the assessments, that does not mean that the budget or the additional funding will follow suit. Remember last year we had 2 disasters, one of which was declared a disaster and we received no funding. We actually had to reprioritize within our current envelope as a provincial government to actually address the disaster affected areas. So once we submit the assessments through to the National Disaster Management Centre, which I believe will be in due course through our Provincial Disaster Management Centre, then we will see ultimately when the adjustment budget is tabled.
Last year, it took about 10 months for the national government to have the province declared a disaster area. This following devastating storms and flooding that caused an estimated damage of over 1.3 billion rand to road infrastructure alone.
Well, last year, for instance, we got the emergency declaration or disaster declaration almost to the day, almost 10 months later. With the news, there's no funding. Now it took 9 days, because remember the storm started on the 3rd. By the 12th, we saw cocktail also pronounced on the emergency declaration. So it's 9 days, so we've seen an improvement in the time of declaring the disaster, but now will the funding follow the same accelerated pace through to our province? But I think what makes a difference is that the affected number of individuals is almost threefold than it was the year before, and almost 4 times in 2022.
Apart from damaged structures, mostly in informal settlements, over 70 roads have been affected in the province. This has led to some communities being cut off from the rest of the world.
Just to give you an example, last year's second storm, just the impact on our road network was 1.3 billion rand. We got 0 from the National Disaster Funding because we were informed there is no money for the Western Cape.
Authorities say they hope that funds will be released timeously by the National Treasury to deal with the storm damage. Mlamli Maneli, SABC News in Cape Town.